Okay, well, here we are, and I'm not pregnant. It's been about a month because it's the 25th, and I'm not pregnant.
It's
So,
been a tough couple weeks.
yeah,
So yeah.
yeah. But we still did want to give you guys kind of the rundown of what happened, transfer day, and then kind of up till now and what our plans are. So, we did that video transfer day morning in our car, and we were so excited. And the actual day was just really fun.
It was a lot of fun, yeah.
We were at peace as we drove over there, and that was only explicable because of prayers and so many people praying for us. And then we got to the place, and they took us back. We got there early, and then they took us back and got us all ready, and said, get into your socks. They gave me little socks. Anyway, doesn't matter. But they brought us a picture of the embryos, and which was really special. And the embryologist came to talk to us, and I have something in my eye. She said everything looks great. This one is already starting to hatch. You can see it right here, which is like there's a shell. I didn't really know any of this stuff, and so I'm going to explain it to you. There's like a shell around the embryo, and once it's fertilized, like that, the cells inside start to expand. And so like the shell breaks, and then the cells like come out of the shell, and then the baby comes from that. And so like one of the embryos had fully expanded and was about to start hatching, and one of them had already started hatching. So we were really excited, and lots of crying as we saw the pictures of our babies. And then they took us back. The doctor came in, and she said, guys, like, I couldn't be happier with how these look and how you look. And everything looks great. So they took us back for the actual procedure, and they let us video it. So we have video of actually being transferred in. And then it was great. It was like 5 minutes, like not even 10 minutes.
Quick. It's amazing how
she's so good at what she does.
Our doctor is just amazing.
And they put them in there, and then they're like, okay, hold on, don't move. And they checked to make sure neither one of them got stuck in the tube, and neither one had. And so they said, okay, we're going to wheel you back to the room, and, go to the bathroom, get dressed, and you're free to go. And then just take it easy for a couple days. And so we did. And so we were really excited, and it's kind of weird. I expected to feel pregnant, even though, like, obviously there's no symptoms at that point. And I kind of didn't, and that's, whatever. And then we stopped and got food on the way home, and then we came home, and then Tim brought the TV into the bedroom, and we watched Stranger Things. We watched the entire season 2 of Stranger Things, and that was really fun.
We just had a relaxed day.
Yeah.
And it was really great.
It was really nice. And then, I don't know why, but I started getting like kind of these negative thoughts about like, oh, it didn't work, and being worried that it didn't work, and that was really hard. So then after that, like, we kind of set into what's called the 2-week wait, and because they actually do a blood test about 10 days later. Ours ended up being 11 because 10 fell on a Sunday, and so yeah, so I for some reason I just wasn't very hopeful. And I don't know how to explain that, except that I'm a pretty pessimistic person in general. And so maybe that was what it was. And then just being faced with the reality of like knowing people who have had failed transfers, and you just kind of, your mind does crazy things to you while you're in this situation where you want to hope, but you're afraid that if you hope and then you have your heart broken, it'll hurt worse. And so maybe that was part of it too. I was trying to protect myself. Anyway.
Yeah, it was just difficult to be hopeful, because it's easy to have that mindset of the worst thing is the most inevitable.
Yeah.
And so.
And it's all or nothing for me. It's not like. So anyway, and then, so I had actually heard of new people who had taken home pregnancy tests as early as like 5 days later and gotten a really faint line for like a positive, and then 6 days and 7 days, and by 7 days having like a full positive home pregnancy test. So that's what we counted on.
And it makes for a really good Instagram picture, right?
It does.
When you can line up all the different pregnancy tests.
Yeah. So we elected to do that, only we waited 7 days. So the next Thursday is when we took our first home test, and it was negative.
Yeah, and that was a really really tough day.
Yeah, that was
It
pretty
just
awful.
kind of confirmed a lot of the negative thoughts that we had to some extent. But then that kind of started getting me to look at home pregnancy tests and look at like how reliable they are and what they actually test for. And so I actually did some research and found that not all home pregnancy tests are created equal. So if you plan on doing that, then you should research which tests you're using and the different levels. So they test for HCG, and so that is a hormone that's produced by the embryo and in response to the embryo. And so you the thing about this is that everyone is different, right? And so not everyone's levels are going to be the same at the same point. And so some people can have negative tests up to a week, even more than that, and still actually be pregnant. And then some tests have different levels, so they can only detect like 40 versus some tests can detect 5 in the blood. And I
Those
forget
numbers mean nothing.
I forget the units, but the point is that some tests are a lot more sensitive. And so I looked, and the tests that we were using were not very sensitive. And so it was it was just a roller coaster, because
Yeah.
then it was kind of like, oh, well, maybe it still might work. And then we tested a couple more times, and they were just all negative. And so
So we tested Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and the Saturday one was just still as negative.
yeah.
And then the blood test was on Monday. So we were like, you know what? It still may work, but it's probably not. And then, so I think our advice would be, like Tim said, do your research, like buy an actual brand. We got an off brand, like a generic brand. Like buy a really good reputable one, and just know that after doing research, Tim found that people do have false negatives. And so even if you do get a negative, it could mean that you're still pregnant, but it's kind of like it. For our next transfer, we're not going to do it.
Yeah, we're
not
just going to
gonna-
avoid the
because
home
it's
pregnancy
just
test because
not worth it.
it's too much
Yeah.
emotion.
So we did that, and then Monday morning, I went in for my blood test, and I was fine when I walked in, and then I walked out, and I was just like a complete ball of tears and emotion, and I was just like, there's just no way it worked, and I was really feeling hopeless and had to go to work, and I really just wanted to go home and get in bed, but I'm glad that I had to go to work because it's good to be distracted. And then the next morning, because we had our blood test done at a third-party lab place, and so they had to, because it was closer to our house on my way to work, and then they had to send the results to our fertility clinic. And so we didn't find out until Tuesday morning. So I found out like 9 o'clock on Tuesday morning as I was walking up the stairs to work, and that was really awful.
Yeah.
And then I kind of was able to keep it together because I had to, and I texted my friends in advance and was like, it didn't work, don't talk to me, basically, because I have to get through this day. And if I have to talk about it, I'm not going to make it. So then I came home, and Tim's mom had driven up. They live about an hour and a half away, and she brought us dinner. And that was really nice. And then the nurse said the next thing that we do is you'll come in for a consultation with the doctor. And so we did that like a week and a half later. And the doctor was so nice, and she just came to get us. And first of all, like, I did not want to go to this consultation because I was like, I know what she's going to say, and I just really don't want to hear it. And so we went in, and she came out to get us in the waiting room, and like I was okay, and then like I started crying. And then she took us back to the office, and I'm still crying. And then she was like, you know what, I hate this part of my job, and I'm so sorry. And she said, you know, if it's okay, like what we normally like to do is go through step by step at each process, like each step of the process, and just kind of dissect it and see what happened. and she took us through my tests for my lining check, and she took us through the embryos, and she took us through my health and my blood tests, and the actual day of the transfer, she said that she actually gets graded on the procedure itself, and she said it's not like if I do a good job, but it's just like, how easy was it? Did they get stuck in the tube? Like, did we have to try for a long time to like find a place to put them? Like that kind of, not really put them, but like, was it easy to put them in and whatever? And she said, I actually got graded really well, and your embryos looked awesome, and your lining was awesome, and there's nothing that I can tell you.
And so the point of all of this is that we don't know why it didn't work. There's no rhyme or reason to it. There's nothing we can point to that says, this is it. This is why it didn't work. This is something that we can change next time. And so, yeah.
She said, moving forward, we'll do pretty much exactly the same thing that we did, because if we change anything and it doesn't work the next time, then we'll be wondering, like, did it not work because it didn't work, or did it not work because we changed something? So she said it's kind of like a 60-40 thing, that like 60% chance it works and 40% doesn't. And she was like, you guys just fall on the 40%. And we take odds and statistics really lightly, because we believe that God is completely and totally and 100,000% sovereign. And so whatever happens in our lives as Christians, he means it for our good, and that he absolutely is controlling every single outcome. And so while this is really hard, we know that somehow there's some good thing that's coming out of this, or has come out of this, or will come out of it. And we do take some comfort in the fact that we know that our babies are with Jesus.
No.
Yeah. And you think about it, and like, it's like, why didn't I get to hold him and like have them here? And they got to be with Jesus and not have to experience any of the effects of sin.
Yeah.
And that's kind of nice. That's a good thing. And so of course we're sad. We're really sad. But we're alive and we're okay. And some days are better than others. And we're functioning. And there were a few days when I was really pretty depressed and didn't have work to distract me, and so I just kind of took it easy and relaxed, and I forgot where I was going with that. Right now, it's just kind of like, it's not like there were moments of being devastated, and now it just feels like somebody has my heart in their hands, and it won't, like, they're just kind of squeezing it, and it's just like, it's kind of a constant dull ache, instead of like this awful, devastating thing every single moment. And part of it is grief over those specific embryos, and part of it is just wanting to be a mom so badly and hold my little kids in my arms and be pregnant, and
Everything
so
that goes
that's
along with
just
that, yeah.
like a lot of the hurt right now is just that I thinking about, like, okay, I had planned on having a baby at Christmas next year, and we're not going to get that, and just kind of thinking, like, okay, it didn't work, and so what happens if it doesn't work next time? Like, then what are we going to do? And Tim says I'm not allowed to play the what if game, but I am the what if game by nature.
It never results in anything positive.
So it's scary. Right now, the doctor said in our consultation, she said, I really advise you not to try anything right now while your hormones are still kind of crazy, and you guys need to heal. And she said, you absolutely need to heal. Don't rush into this. And so I expected her to say that nothing was wrong, and I don't know why it didn't work, but I did not expect her to say, just take time. And that was kind of a nice thing for her to say, and not try to like just rush us into the next thing. She gave us a hug when she left, and she said, I'm so sorry about 3 or 4 times. And yeah, so that was that. And then I said, honestly, it's probably going to be a while, because we the Lord was so gracious to us in providing everything we needed for the adoption and the first transfer, and that was it. That was the extent of what He provided for us at that moment, and that was perfect, and that's what we needed. And so now we have to wait until we can raise funds and save money, and so we're doing some more fundraising, and we're doing just working extra hard at different. I'm a small business owner, and so I have the ability to kind of push my business a little bit more and try harder with that. And so that, I mean, I've quote unquote found some money that I had in PayPal that I had not transferred to our bank from the first round of fundraising, and so that has kind of pushed us along. And so, I mean, we're actually doing really well in raising funds. And so I think I may have said this already, that we hope to have a transfer in the summer. And doctor said, the last two that you have are graded not as good as the first two. And so she said I would recommend transferring both of them.
Which we were going to do
Which is what we were going to do anyway.
And we take about as much stock in the grading as we do in the statistics.
Yeah. So that's it. That's where we are. We are hoping for a summer transfer, and at moments that's exciting, and at moments it's exciting, and then the next second it's terrifying.
Yep.
Because it's like you're setting yourself up to get hurt all over again if it doesn't work. But there's no guarantee that it will work or not work. And so there's a lot of fear and doubt, but
ultimately we're putting our trust in God, because we know that His will is perfect and sovereign. And so whatever we hope, whatever we feel, whatever we want, it pales in comparison to His will. And so we're just trying to trust in that and trying to remember that above our feelings. So that is where we are, and
one last thing is that we have been really surrounded by just these beautiful people and friends who have brought us food and prayed for us and sent us messages and cards, and people who are rallying to help us fundraise and help us raise money for our second transfer. And so we're really, I think that was what you were about to say.
That was what I was going to say. So
so there we are, and hopefully we'll talk to you soon. But that's dinner.
That was dinner. So thanks for watching, and we will keep you updated.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Say goodbye, guys.